Okay. All right. So we are here with Liam from Horus. Do you want to? Why don't you explain to the audience and frankly to myself for a few minutes, what Horus is and kind of what your goal and your mission on what the problem is you're trying to solve.
Sure, absolutely. So Horus is a social schedule. It has everything that a person might schedule in 5 categories, which are health, occupation, responsibility, unique, and social. We're not oriented at getting people to put as much time as possible into their work. It's not just a task app for getting chores done. It really is a comprehensive life scheduling tool. So anything from your morning workout to grabbing a few drinks with friends after work, anything like that has a home on Horus. And as a part of that, visibility and shareability are central to Horus being different from any other scheduling platform.
Okay.
So whether something is shared totally, so let's say, a spouse, a parent, someone who, you trust to see really all the details in your life, your coworkers can easily see only occupation events or a subset of occupation events. Your doctor and your trainer can see your health information without that needing to be public and so on. So we really manage conflicts between different categories of scheduling.
So tell me, there's a lot of calendar apps. I know I'm not trying to pigeonhole you in calendar app, but tell me, so what was the, I don't know if aha moment, but what's the aha moment when you were like, all the other tools that are out there aren't doing whatever the core is of what you're doing? What was that, what triggered in your head, as far as what is the problem?
Right.
That you're really solving? Well,
like most entrepreneurs, this is a problem that I had myself. So I, first recognized this need while I was in college. And, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and beyond, I could really be doing anything. I could be at the gym, in class, group study, something like that. And I was too overstretched in different categories. It wasn't just that I was taking too many classes. I was taking, full course load, but I was also active in a couple of social organizations. I was trying to make time to keep in touch with my family back home. I was trying to take care of myself physically. And I started to think about, okay, so, which tool am I going to use to get serious about this? What do I want to use to manage my whole life? And really, after looking at the available options,
you decided to build one.
I decided to build one. I thought that was the most direct way to solve the problem.
Okay.
And then from there, I thought it was just a question of, okay, well, how do we schedule? I thought that was the big thing, right? Like, how can we schedule really efficiently and really quickly, kind of like become the Venmo for scheduling, right?
Sure.
And that's where we started. And so, we focused a lot on functionality and features. But then from there, I realized the biggest challenge is really more of a social one, which is, everyone would agree that our lives could, work more smoothly and it'd be easier to change our life plan if things are already really well scheduled. But, could you imagine getting a social invitation to something casual on Outlook? Probably not. Similarly, like a various task, maybe it's something you just get done right in the middle of the workday or during your lunch break. If you have a task like that, you could, in theory, put it in Outlook, Google Calendar, something like that. Wouldn't make sense to, and it's not set up for that, and it would treat that the same as any other kind of event without recognizing some idea of priority.
Okay. So you said, you came up with this idea in college.
In college.
You're not in college.
Not anymore.
So how is the idea, I guess I'm making an assumption here. My assumption is that you're not just building an app for college students.
No.
Are college students the primary focus?
They are the initial target market.
Okay.
So college students or college age, adults or recent graduates are really ideal candidates because, one, they pick up new technology all the time. They're okay with sharing their lives, more so than other previous generations. And two, this group is unique because they're not necessarily in, the traditional workplace that says, all right, you use Outlook now. You don't have a choice. You follow our rules. You put your work time in there. Other than that, we don't care about.
Sure.
It's something, we will have to plan for and work around at some point until we're actually displacing the mainstream product offerings. But really, we're solving the most a unique set of problems. People who have the most flexibility in life that can be doing anything at any time of day first, nailing that, at which point we want to go more after the traditional 9 to 5 crowd.
So when, your guys' app exists, right?
It's in beta form, so
beta form.
we haven't released to the
Okay,
app
so
stores,
are you going after getting users on the beta right now?
Yeah.
Or is it an internal beta? What are you doing?
Right now it's an internal beta. We're working on our list, have about 10 or so people who are on the more tech proficient side,
Okay.
unfortunately, who are going to be our initial beta testers. Obviously we want really a lot of diversity of thought. We want people in different age groups, different occupations, who have really different versions of the same scheduling problems. And then if we find that we're able to meet the needs for, really our target market, the best, but then we're still able to be useful for people who, aren't working in some kind of college or startup environment, if they're, working a fairly fixed recurring life, but they're still able to find value from this, and let's say it's their go-to social planner, that's still great. I mean,
Sure.
That's still a learning process for us.
So what, as far as, so you're getting some beta testers.
Yeah.
Have you thought about what the next step is? And maybe that's a question. When I say the next step, it's more of, I guess you could kind of take this two ways. One, have you thought about, okay, what data, what information are you trying to collect from those beta testers to figure out, do we need to pivot? Do we need to do something different? Do we need to attack the customer base different? Or have you already got in your mind, okay, this is the next customer base that I think I need to go after. Let me use this test to make sure that, like, how are you using this beta test? What are you actually trying to facilitate it to do? Is it proving out the tech, and you think the market's baked in, or like how are you approaching the beta?
To some extent, it's both. So as for understanding whether we're doing our job now for that just initial target market of basically college students, the way that we're looking at that now and testing that is really what's the distribution of scheduled events between categories, or like the total time between events.
Okay.
Really, this lets us know how people see our tool versus the traditional offering. So if people are using it like a traditional offering, they're probably putting in mostly occupation and responsibility events, which is not bad for us, but it definitely would reject our hypothesis that we shouldn't be moving away from the mainstream offering.
Sure.
We should be making a better version of it. In terms of how we're building this for, say, the next target market group, this overlaps to some extent with our actual consumer group, right? But a sort of organization of consumers, not B2B, so not a workplace environment, but really a collection of individuals. We're starting to reach out to church congregations, school clubs, things like that have scheduling needs, but it's not so high priority and so structured like in a traditional workplace that they already have a good enough solution. So we're testing how well that channel would work. I mean, really the sort of consumer word of mouth channel versus organizational.
Got it. So I mean, you're doing product proof at the same time you're doing product market fit. And
it's a bit messy, for sure.
I mean, like, I don't think that's unique. Like, I think that's frankly, I think where most. I mean, I do the same thing. So this is not me offering advice without having my own medicine. I think most startups you're enamored with the product.
Yeah.
And so you start building. Right? And you kind of have to start building. Like, at some point you can do all the damn market research you want.
Yeah.
But you have to, you make a gut decision, right? Like, this is what I think. And then, like, it is this messy, like, you test a little bit and you get feedback and you're like, oh, maybe I got to tweak this. And again, that's a gut. You're like, well, maybe you're tweaking the right thing and maybe you're not. But until you do it and you give it to people and you get feedback back, how the hell are you going to know whether that's right or not?
Right.
And so in the same sense of doing feature production, then in the same or at the same time as you're doing that feature iteration, you're giving it back to people, and then what you'll find out is, oh, I gave that feature to this person, and maybe it hit, maybe it didn't, but I kind of already built it, and maybe this group over here actually would find more value of it. So then you kind of shift a little focus, and you're like, all right, let me test there. So I think that's just the normal process, but it is, that to me always feels like failure. When in reality, what's the alternative?
Yeah, true.
But I don't know, man. It's always felt like failure to me going through that iterative cycle.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head in that, it's not that, we're starting phase 1 and then we're starting phase 2 overlapping on it. It's, we're starting phase 1 and then jumping ahead to a specific part in phase 2.
Right.
And we think, okay, we're here. And then we do a little bit more, say, feature testing or product testing. And, we get certain feedback. And even if it's positive, people are like, yeah, I know how to use that. I see that screen. I swipe, tap that, whatever. And then that lets us know, okay, we actually need to take it to an intermediate step. We don't just want to understand their problem in isolation. Either they're not ready for it or we just don't need the feature testing yet. What we need to go back and understand is that intermediary step. So how are you trying to solve that problem right now?
Sure.
And so that's something we've recently gone back to. But I still expect us, kind of jump back
Sure.
a little bit to, okay, what's the real problem? And then a little bit to, how do we solve this with a kind of specific solution?
Sure. Okay. I guess that's probably it for this. How about you got like an email address or website where if anybody wants to try the beta, they could send you a message, or is it totally
not quite,
closed right
but
now?
I'm very open to any feedback, and I'm happy to give any kind of detail. Or if you listen to this and you have a suggestion that you think I have to tell them. My name is Liam Rose, CEO of Catalina 7 Ventures, or you can type in Horus, all caps. Should take you to the same place. Horus. So that's
All right.
Horus Mobile. I'm Liam Rose. You can find me on LinkedIn.
All right, cool, man. Thank you.
Thank you.